Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Underdog Sports. I'm Casey Reginald Jr.
And this is your man, J-Dub, a.k.a. Justin Waters.
And here we go with Week 3, preseason game number 3. Justin's wanting to talk about these ratchet Steelers again.
We ratchet? Oh, Lord. Ratchet is the Raiders. Ratchet is the Falcons. At least our city ain't even that royal as that ratchet. But we'll go on with that one. We'll let you ride with Ratchet for right now. Ratchet could be winning, too.
Ratchet can be winning in this league. What we got this week?
So, of course, we're going to start with the elephant in the room, the interview that Big Ben did during halftime of the Titans-Steelers game on Sunday night, where he said it affected their friendship with him and AB. I'll be the first one to tell you, I am officially sick of both of them. AB needs to be where he needs to be. He got his money. He got his way out. Ben just needs to shut the hell up and just go ahead and do Steelers football, and that's it. We have a new team, well, not a new team, but we have a new cloud lifted. So stop talking about the friendship. You're a quarterback, he's a receiver. This is the only time I will give AB his due. He's just trying to get his paper. Most quarterbacks and receivers, yeah, they could be friends. They're all great ones. Look at T.Y. Hilton and Andrew Luck, which we'll talk about later. But in this case, this was just business. And Ben should just let it go. What Ben is trying to do is damage control. We already know you're not a leader, bro. You wasn't a leader the first Super Bowl, the second, nor the third that we lost to. So just go ahead and do your job and make sure we win. And that's the only thing we need to concentrate with. As far as AB is concerned, when he says my ex still loves me and all that, I don't think he can get over it. I think his ego is still looking at it. I think he looks at himself in the mirror, still sees Steelers jersey, and realize he's a Raider. Stick with being a Raider. And we'll just move on with that one.
Wait. You just going to move on? Wait, you just said this man misses being a Steeler. He bitched and moaned and complained his way out of Pittsburgh.
Right. He's also said that him and Ben were never friends, but yet when they had National Best Friend Day, who was his best friend on his IG? And he posted not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 different years in a row on National Best Friend Day. I got a lot of best friends. But I didn't even know there was such thing as a National Best Friend Day.
Are we really talking about them being best friends?
There's no such thing as best friends in this game.
Wait.
That's what I'm saying. There's no such thing as best friends like this in football. Not 2 dynamic, different pieces like that. Yeah, they could get along, but I don't see it happen.
Bro, I don't understand. Why are we talking about Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger? They're on different teams now. Why does it?
I totally agree. But why this happened when it came out, when that interview came off on Sunday night, I said, "Why is this?" Was the first of all, that was the only interesting thing about the whole entire football game. Let's just be real. The Titans are terrible, beyond terrible, and they have that
Marcus Mariota, and then their coach had no business getting that job, but that's another story altogether.
But I didn't want to watch it for Mariota. I really wanted to see what Ryan Tannehill was going to do, because Mariota is on thin ice. And that goes back. We could argue about this, but that's one of the most overrated drafts as far as quarterbacks are concerned in a long time, outside of the Vince Young and Matt Leinart draft.
But what if Jameis Winston turns it around this year? Are you still going to call it overrated draft?
Yes, because Jameis Winston's only turning it around because it's in a contract year. Give me at least 3 or 4 years of him doing it.
It has nothing to do with the coaching change. Nothing to do with the coaching change.
Because you got the guru.
Well, I mean, and what did he have before?
The guru don't want him. The guru dealt with another.
I don't think that's what's coming out of Tampa.
The only reason why Bruce Arians will deal with Jameis Winston because he sees a black fat Roethlisberger. That's the only reason.
Well, I mean, if he sees a winner, then that's what he sees. So he wants Jameis Winston to stick around.
They both like to grope women at the wrong and inappropriate time. Yeah, I get it. But I really see the Jameis Winston in another jersey next year. Mariota maybe not. I think they'll still give him another leeway, but Jameis, I don't see him anywhere past him.
Why would anyone give Mariota anything? If they pay him more than $10 million, he's a backup quarterback.
He is a backup quarterback, but you can't tell that to half the backup quarterbacks in the NFL. Me personally, start to finish real quick, and then I'll go back to my Steelers point. Mariota would be gone, and I would have had Teddy Bridgewater. If the whatchamacallit is smart, if Jacoby Brissett struggles, the coach need to go ahead and make that phone call to either Tannehill, because I never thought Tannehill was bad. I just thought he was in a bad system. Or he need to go ahead and get my man Teddy B from New Orleans.
Ryan Tannehill should never have been an NFL quarterback in the first place.
So you would have kept him a wide receiver like he was when Reggie McNeil was the quarterback at first?
Absolutely.
Nah. Eventually he had to get his shine.
What shine?
He didn't do too bad at A&M. You got to look at the stats.
What
he did
shine?
pretty good at A&M.
I'm not talking about A&M. I'm talking about the Miami Dolphins when he was the starting quarterback for years.
He had 1 year, and that's what they were basing off of. I'm not saying I'm gonna be able to jump on the Ryan Tannehill bandwagon. I'm just saying that he's better than a lot of these quarterbacks in the NFL. And Jameis Winston, yeah, he's great, but Jameis Winston needs a new team. Sometimes you need to start fresh to go ahead and become better.
I don't think so. I think he needs to stay right where he is. That's where his family is. That's where he's comfortable. Let him stay where he is. The team just needs to get better. But that's where his family is now.
He needs a new start.
Why?
Period. Like
he got a new start.
He can be better elsewhere.
He got a new start. The new start was Bruce Arians.
Right, and he's also a quarterback killer. Come on, man. Lovie Smith would still have the job if it wasn't for Jameis Winston's overrated ass. Then they brought in
No.
He wasn't.
Jameis Winston was not the reason that Lovie Smith got fired. Them idiots made a bad move. Don't blame the quarterback on that one.
The idiot, but that same quarterback had two back-to-back interception games where they could have made the playoffs. That's why I still hold that, because I'm a Lovie Smith fan.
And he was young.
You want to blame it on youth?
Yes.
And Andrew Luck was young.
Bro, how many years did Peyton Manning choke until he actually got over the hump?
How many years did Peyton Manning didn't have a line?
No, how many years?
You got to ask you a better question.
He had enough of a line to get to the situation to where he could choke. So don't blame the line after he got to the situation. How many years did Peyton Manning choke before he got over the hump? So we're blaming Jameis Winston, who's learning now his third different system. Give him a shot with somebody that can actually groom a quarterback.
We're gonna see.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not a Winston fan. I'm saying give the kid a shot. This is still his first contract, and he's playing for a new one. Give him a shot.
Yeah, it's $25 million. So I'm gonna put $25 million and a tenth of my salary cap on this guy. Okay.
What alternatives are there?
So, there isn't a lot of other options. But me personally, if I was Bruce Arians, I would want to start fresh.
So,
give me a kid straight out of college.
But you said yourself this draft was going to be soft on quarterbacks.
That is true. But if Bruce can go ahead and manage to get something, a diamond in the rough, he could. Right now, the best quarterback in that draft is Tua, and you can't name anybody else.
Exactly.
Or, like I told you before, if Tampa's smart and they really have faith in Arians, go ahead, tank this season, get a lineman, build your draft or trade around to get a bunch of draft picks to build that line, and then next year or the following year, 2021, go after Trevor Lawrence. Go get the kid from Clemson.
But
if you really want to play
still
like that.
got to pay a quarterback next year.
Huh?
You're still going to have to pay a quarterback in 2020.
Yeah, I agree with you. But you can find someone relatively cheap. I'm saying.
So you're gonna tank 2 years in a row?
Yeah, exactly my point.
In Tampa?
It worked in others. Tampa's already been tanking for a while. So what's the difference?
Exactly. They're not selling tickets already, so now you're going to tank for 2 years?
The owners don't give a damn about the team. You have to realize all three Florida teams, their owners don't give a shit about football. Stephen Ross is worried about politics. The Khan, who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, he owns part of Manchester United, and the Glazers own another soccer team, and that's all their cash cows. They don't give a damn about this. They just saying they have a football team. They have a football team. Period. So win or lose, they can give a fuck less. Khan wanted the team in LA a long time ago, and that's one of the reasons why Khan was adamant about not getting Tim Tebow to Jacksonville, because he didn't want ticket sales to rise. They wanted to fall, and lo and behold, it never happened, but still. So, as far as that's concerned, what's happened to lose if they're already losing? It ain't like they got shit to lose. It's changing anyway. And they have one of the weakest conferences in NFL.
I'm just saying, it's been a long time since they won. They won't sell tickets for long if they tank for 2 years. I don't see. I just can't imagine that.
No bet. I just don't see that with Jameis. I think Jameis needs a new start, new team.
But where?
Where, I don't know. That's the question. I can see him being a Colt.
Honestly. So you have no faith in Brissett?
Huh?
You have no faith in Brissett. This is the second time we've been on here for 12 minutes. This is the second time that you've already fired Brissett.
Yeah, well, shit.
You have no faith in Jacoby Brissett.
4-12 total. 5-13.
But he learned the playbook in the middle of the season. He's been here now. So I'm just gonna say, give him a dude. You're killing him. But
I mean, there's another other quarterbacks we can go to, Kyler Murray too, but that's another subject as well.
Yeah,
I don't have faith in him either.
So did Ben play in the preseason at all?
Yeah, he got in. Actually, his first game was against the Titans. He did pretty good. He's showing right now that Juju is going to be used in more than just 3 routes. Because when we were watching the Titans game, they had Juju everywhere, which is good because it makes it seem like he's more versatile, which I keep telling you, we need a guy that can go in the middle, and that's it. But also, I keep saying that name, James Washington. He shined again against the Titans.
The Titans.
The boy's nice.
He shined against the Titans.
Hey,
what did you just say? What did you just say about the Titans?
It's up, but we can't select the season, but he still shine. He still shine, but we gotta go ahead and play whatever we get scheduled for us. But he did a hell of a job against them. He had, with 3 catches, another, I think 50, 60 yards, something like that. He had a touchdown, too.
So you think Ben played enough?
Okay. Say it again?
So you think Ben played enough in the preseason? He's ready for week 1?
Yeah, I think he is. He doesn't need. What's the point of playing this 4th game? Honestly, the 4th game of preseason.
I mean, you don't play this game. It's dumb to play this game.
Right. The 4th game of the preseason is just to really sit there and look at the backups to see what's going on with them. Right now, we got Josh Dobbs out there, and the Steelers are debating: should we bring in Josh Dobbs, or should we go ahead and should we have him as a 3rd string, or should we cut him? Again, like I told you before. The Chiefs are one of the teams interested in Josh Dobbs.
We'll give you a 5th-round pick.
Yeah, he would. I hope we don't get rid of him, but I gotta say, Mason Randolph is showing a lot as far as being a 2nd-year player. And let's just being realistic, he looks more like Ben. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The Steelers don't have to change the offense.
He absolutely looks a lot more like Ben.
So that's why I was like, between the rapport with Washington, who's probably going to be, they are pegging him as the future wide receiver for the Steelers, and the fact is he's built like Ben. He's just a thinner version. He's not too. Even though I have to say this, Ben is not 260. They need to stop saying he's 260.
He's 300 pounds, bro.
Well, he's not. Gerald Lorenzen, rest in peace. But
he's 300 pounds. Did you see his face?
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
His face looks like most people's asses.
Yeah, well.
He's got a.
I mean, like I said.
He's 300 pounds.
I see that because when they had him in the preseason game last week where he didn't play, when he took his shirt off, not took his shirt off, but when he took his jacket off, you clearly see he had that Homer Simpson over. Like, the white shirt didn't help him. I was like, oh, Ben's
and then he's what, like 6 what?
Ben's like 6'5".
So he's 6'5", and he looks like that. So he's like 300 pounds easy.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's been on that Shaq. He's been on that Shaq Miami Heat diet.
Yeah. Eat it all the time. Anyway,
Yeah, he has been doing that.
So how's he going to hold up over 16 games? We talked about this a little last week.
The same way he's been doing for the last 5 years. It ain't like he got any. Here's the thing. He's actually lighter than what he had been the last 2 years. He was bigger than that last year. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, I'm going to go ahead and take the good with this one.
Bro, you got Samoa Joe playing quarterback.
Hey, Samoa Joe looking good, though. As long as he I was going to say, I was looking at, more of a, what's my man's name from Canada? Kevin Owens.
KO.
But, I mean, hey, if they can jump
the
up
worst
and
stunner
fly
ever.
Through,
It's
I don't
awful.
even know why they
It's
bequeathed that move
awful.
from. One of these days we're gonna have.
Is it because his
talk.
arms are short?
I don't know, but remember he had the super kick too at one point.
No.
But let's just be realistic.
His
We're gonna have to
awful.
his summer is awful. We're gonna have to have a straight podcast on most overrated wrestlers and moves in history, because because people taking the stunner all the time, and I'm tired of everybody having the spear. I mean, like, come on. And every move John Cena has sucks, just to be honest with you. It's just another side subject. So,
You can't hate Cena.
No, bro. The five knuckle
The
shuffle.
STF was cool.
Really? No.
Yeah. I can see people
Yeah,
tap into the
moves.
STF.
It doesn't sell well to me.
I mean, but I can see
every
it
movie
hurting.
can slide out of.
Anyway,
John,
what about y'all secondary?
Our secondary is still that's the only question we have. Joe Hayden is back. Audubon showed glimpses of why he was a first-round pick the last 2 games. The keyword, glimpses. We'll see how the season goes. I like Justin Lay, but Justin Lay's starting to look more like he needs a year of being a backup, because he's tall and long, but his hips don't bend. And everything they said, Mel Kiper said, which he's the draft guard to me, I looked at him when preseason. It's actually showing. His reaction time is slightly off, and he's not like, you give him one good stutter step, we're in trouble, or if it's defensive pass interference automatically. So we're gonna work out that. Now your boy Stevie Nelson, Rashawn Davis hurt. They already said it. It came out in the news today in Pittsburgh that Stevie Nelson could be possibly switching to safety. Which now I understand where you're coming from, because he did not impress me against. He didn't impress me the previous game, but he didn't impress me too much against the Titans either. Corey Davis had 2 good drives on him, and Corey Davis I really thought was overrated coming out of Western Michigan. He was just on that hotel. So yeah, you may be right with that.
He's got no ball skills. None.
Yeah, and then he did what every damn cornerback that signs with the Steelers does. They signed him on. He did a hell of a job on kick return and special teams. I was like, here we go again. Tom Andrade gets another guy that's opportunity to play special teams.
Well, he was a good special teams player. He just can't play cornerback.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But we're trying to get these guys as a starting cornerback. I mean, we can find special team players. Trust me, that's
told
not the position I'm worried about.
You thought we were the worst pass defense in football. You think if we had a good one, we'd let them walk away?
Yeah, I did with Marcus Peters. I traded him.
No.
I'm just saying.
That they couldn't sell to Overland Park and Olathe. That has nothing to do about talent. I'm talking about.
I'm about to say, you don't let a tier 1 cornerback. Y'all just trade him because y'all don't like his stance on things.
Bro, that's about the suburbs. That has nothing. I'm sorry. That's about a specific population of the fan base that happen to spend a lot of money at Arrowhead Stadium, even though the stadium's not in their county. But
they probably would make America great at.
So they got it. They had to. That's a whole different subject. But dude, you thought if we come on now, we were the worst. The only team near as bad as us was you. Why would you take a cornerback from the worst if you're already just above us?
I think this was actually a side deal for y'all taking Kendrell Bell a couple of years back in the day. I think it was a side deal.
Bro, come on. Hey, we're in 2019. Get over that.
Hey, y'all took him off our hands. We wouldn't have had James Harrison if y'all wouldn't have took Kendrell Bell. We bless y'all for it. We thank y'all forever and a day. Because Coach Cowher was in love with that dude. I'm like, Lord,
that's the one that got away. The hell with that linebacker situation. The Chiefs had no business not making Bill Cowher the head coach of that team and letting him go to Pittsburgh. They had no business doing that. Marty couldn't win in the freaking playoffs. It was time to make a change. Shortly after that, the team deteriorated.
I agree with you with that.
So I don't get it. But that's
y'all traded us so much, it was unbelievable. I swear, the Chiefs and the Steelers must have like a secret pact with trades. And
I don't know, but I hate it.
Back for years.
I hate it.
Well, y'all benefited from Van Morse for a couple of years
until he started selling drugs.
Well, I mean, we didn't know he was going. Well, we didn't know.
Come on, bro. Y'all knew that. That's why y'all let him walk.
We did.
That's why y'all let him walk. So back to your secondary. Your secondary is a suspect at best, is what you're saying.
They're C minus.
C minus.
I'm giving them a C minus. We have one Pro. It's like Destiny's Child. We have one Pro Bowl star, and the rest of filling.
Oh so, wow. Yeah. Destiny's Child. Oh wow.
And hopefully Hayden doesn't get hurt because he's injury prone as hell now.
So.
Our running game is looking great.
How's your front seven gonna deal with a second? Are they like monsters?
Hey, to it. Safety, 2 sacks. This was just last game. Safety, 2 sacks. We have Pro Bowl. Our Pro Bowl line is fine. Devin Bush, you're going to hear that name a lot, brother.
Yeah,
hear that name because
I've heard it for 3 weeks in a row.
The Watt's back, and he's playing out of his mind. The only thing that scares me with Watt is he has his brother's work ethic, and I don't want them to all of a sudden he just becomes injury breakdown just like JJ is. Because he's not as big as JJ. But work ethic and all that being said, he's a stud. I ain't worrying about the linebacking core. I'm not worrying about our defensive line. The only thing I'm worrying about is our corners. That's it. Now, the corners, we go back to it, that's scaring me because the division now we have with the 2 LSU boys on one. I'm not counting A.J. Green because he'll get hurt, but we got Tyler Boyd from Pitt who is going to probably emerge as a star. And then, who does Baltimore have? It doesn't matter. But anyways, those two, just them 3 alone is just what's scary. So that's what we got to worry about. Baltimore, I don't know what they'll bring to the table because they let go of their one that was killing us, which was John Brown. He was going to kill us. And if they're going to go ahead and get A.B.'s little cousin, think he's going to go ahead and terrorize the Steelers, they got another thing coming.
I mean, but if you don't have anybody that can cover, it doesn't matter, really.
True.
I mean,
as far as the Ravens is concerned, they ain't and prove to me they can throw the ball, and then I'll go ahead.
Well, yeah, you got a great point there. We will see.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. They start being able to throw that ball. I'm more worried about Mark Ingram and whoever else at running back than I'll ever worry about far as throwing the ball because Lamar Jackson, if he stays healthy, okay. He may lead the league in rushing as a quarterback, maybe for the first time. Maybe might even beat Michael Vick's 1,000-yard season. But I ain't worried about him throwing the ball. Not at all. Okay. Y'all can do as much as you want on that one. So, we good.
I mean,
I forgot who we play next week, but they ain't going to play anyway. We're worried about backup, and our special teams need work. That's the other thing. But that's another topic. Our special teams is scaring me now.
He was just enough a threat, Jackson was, against Kansas City that really kept them in that game, throwing the ball. So, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be a prolific passer by any stretch of the imagination, but I will say he's gonna be just enough of a threat.
You want to know how he was, and I watched some of that game. You know how he was beating y'all? They kept running fucking slants.
Yeah, and he's going to keep running slants.
And your corners couldn't stop him. And your corners couldn't stop John Brown. John Brown, between when we played him and y'all played him, and probably one other team played him, y'all should be stars. John Brown should have had 1,500-yard season if he played against those three teams all the time. Just being honest.
I'm just saying that he's going to keep running those slants. They're going to keep running those slants because that's what he's good at, those slants, and he might be able to throw a post or two.
Yeah, but I don't have faith in Lamar Miller. He needs a coach that can develop him as a quarterback.
Jackson.
Hugh Jackson is the quarterback coach. I just don't. I'm saying Miller. I'm sorry, Jackson. My bad. If he had Jim Harbaugh and not John Harbaugh, then I might be like, okay. He may be something. But, oh boy, nah. I'm sorry. Ain't gonna happen.
Well, so on this, we got a couple more Steelers things. Is this the make or break season for Mike Tomlin? Regardless of that extension? Why not?
As far as the media is concerned, yes, it is.
I mean, did y'all make the playoffs last year?
Okay, let's just be realistic. What was our record? 9-6-1.
That's not what I
most teams, 9 wins in a normal NFL sitting. 9 wins will get you to the wild card game.
9 wins is not good. Let's not try to celebrate 9 wins.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is let's look at the fact of the matter is the man still has not had a losing season. The only real reason we lost is, one, we had 2 games we lost because of kicking. And then the other game when Ben wanted to be the gunslinger from hell and try to force that ball to AB against Denver, and the defensive lineman picks it up. But, again, Ben could have called another play, but instead he wanted to pout and go ahead and do something. I'm blaming Ben for that Denver loss totally. And trust me, I had to deal with a former co-worker talking about it for weeks about it. Although we beat them in the playoffs, Lord knows how many times. But, yeah. With this being said,
you don't think it's make or break. You think even though he did not make the playoffs last year, regardless of all these explanations that we have for not making the playoffs last year, this is not make or break for Mike Tomlin.
Nah, that's not make or break for Mike Tomlin. It's just the media wants make or break for Mike Tomlin because of the
I think I do too. You got to win. That's Pittsburgh.
Right. If you win.
But if you don't.
Because here's the thing. Right. But I don't think he loses. Look how many years. You just mentioned the coach. The coach that you wanted that slipped away from y'all. How many losing seasons did Cowher have? We had back-to-back losing seasons with the Steelers. Thusly, how Ben got to be a Steeler in the first place because we had a losing season. How many seasons that Cowher had? We had the last half of the 90s, we were losing a lot of games.
I mean,
but Cowher still kept his job.
But that was a time where you should have been losing because the other teams were good. Look at your division.
Right. True. The only reason why we should lose, that Tomlin should lose her job, is we have a complete and utter meltdown.
No, if you don't win this division, he should get fired.
No, you're tripping.
This division?
I'm defending him, man.
Wait. Oh, are you saying that you're afraid of Cleveland?
How many division titles we have?
Are you saying that you're afraid of Cleveland?
No one's afraid of Cleveland.
So
I'm afraid of basically. So if you're saying I'm afraid of Cleveland,
if he misses the playoffs twice, I think he gets fired.
You're tripping.
I think he gets fired, especially after all the locker room drama from last year. I cannot sell you, but I can tell you that.
Until you can give me a formidable coach that will say, okay, it's waiting in the wings, it's worth getting. Because Bill Belichick ain't coming from New England. Nick Saban is too old to coach. I mean, unless we get Sean Payton, he ain't leaving New Orleans. We get Bill Belichick, he ain't leaving New England. Why the hell we gonna lose? Because those are the only two. Actually, no, I take it back. Bill's the only one that has a better record in the last 15 years.
So you're not willing to go young again?
Huh?
You're not willing to go young again? You're not
willing.
You're not willing to go young in offense as the league is trending that way.
We're gonna go with this big like McVay and shit. Let's just.
I'm not saying McVay. I'm saying look under Andy Reid. I'm saying look under Andy Reid.
I'm about to say, y'all, Andy Reid's definitely old.
No. I said like under him. Eric Bieniemy.
Eric Bieniemy, we got to see him as an offensive coordinator. Right now, he's only been a skill position. So go from skill position now.
He was coordinator last year.
And I want
his quarterback threw for 50 touchdowns in his first year as coordinator.
You still have the quarterback guru.
Hey,
bro, you still forgot who's the coach.
That's wonderful and great, but that got Charles Nagy a job.
He looks like it. He built like it.
I'm sorry, they got Matt Nagy a job. They got Matt Nagy a job in Chicago. And that quarterback didn't throw for 50 touchdowns. That quarterback didn't throw for 50. No. The quarterback that Nagy was the offensive coordinator of, he didn't throw for 50 touchdowns. He threw for like 30 something, his career high.
And 30 still not a bad. I'm about to say,
and Nagy's the head coach of Chicago. So why does Nagy get that job and you don't think Bieniemy deserves a job in Pittsburgh?
Because the whole point of the matter is that I don't think we should lose Tomlin. That's my case.
Well, if he's not winning, if he's not winning,
Bieniemy's a former. Yeah, but we're going to win, one. And two,
but
now
if he's not winning,
you got to control the locker room. If we don't shine.
Why do we have control of the locker room? We didn't fix the locker room. We got rid of a superstar.
No,
or
got
two.
Rid of the headache.
We got rid of a superstar or two. Come on, bro.
Le'Veon actually wasn't, to be honest with you. Keep it real. Le'Veon was about his money, but he wasn't necessarily a locker room cancer.
Exactly.
Locker room cancer. So you get rid of the problem. Your head coach benefited from getting rid of a locker room cancer, didn't he?
How did you benefit? But how did you benefit by missing the playoffs?
We missed the playoffs because we couldn't. Our cornerback sucked. Our secondary sucked.
Your cornerback sucked, and you didn't have Le'Veon Bell.
We had 2 games.
You didn't have Le'Veon Bell.
No, that is not a factor, brother.
It was a factor because I'm telling you right now, if you had Le'Veon Bell, you probably beat Kansas City.
You're only bringing up Kansas City.
I am bringing up Kansas City because if you win one more game, you're in the playoffs.
And here's the other factor with Kansas City. James Conner still had 100 yards against y'all.
But he's not Le'Veon Bell.
Who is?
Exactly.
Your point I'm trying to tell you is we lost games to the field. We lost games for special teams. We lost games for secondary. So here's the other factor. When you want to go there with that, one of the biggest things is Chris Boswell on 2 different occasions had game-winning drives. Where they had a game-winning drive, he missed a fucking field goal. If we would have had the field goal, we would have won 2 games. So instead of us talking about being 9-6-1, we would have been 11-4-1, and we've been talking all this bullshit about, he needs to be on the hot seat. Our special teams, now we did fire the special teams coach because, again, Boswell wasn't into it, and Boswell was hurt. And this is the only thing I have a problem with Tomlin right now. He's too loyal to the players. He gives them too many second chances because Boswell's back. But Boswell struggles, he needs to be gone. But 2 games. And then if you want to count the 3rd game with the gunslinger who threw the fucking ball right there in the end zone, you're on 4. He did the whole Russell Wilson all over again. You're on 3rd and 7, and you want to throw it into a coverage. And it's funny that the lineman picked up, but you're trying to force the ball to AB. So this is why I was like, that best friend thing, to go back on that was bullshit because you forced it where you could have thrown it to Jesse James. Now, Jesse James sometimes has baloney hands, but hell, even he got to catch this one.
Well,
you got a 6'8" tight end, and he needs to get. He's not
hope,
there anyway.
You hope, but you just called him baloney hands.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's why he's now at Detroit Lions, and he's probably already started. He's mad now. He's a third stringer.
Well,
he thought he was going to start. Well, that's another subject. So before we go there talking about, you're starting to sound like Max Kellerman with the love of Le'Veon Bell. We did not struggle as much as everybody wanted us to because of Le'Veon Bell.
But you didn't make the playoffs either.
Okay, we didn't make the playoffs, and y'all make the playoffs for the first time because y'all had
Wait. It wasn't the first time we made the playoffs. That was our third year in a row winning our division. So anyway, moving on. Moving on to your backup quarterback. You tried to go there.
We don't go there with this.
We will, but let's get done with the Steelers first, and then we'll go there. Is Mason Rudolph ready to take the reins from Big Ben?
Nah, it's still yet to be seen. He's had glimpses, but I still want to see some consistency with him. Mason is good. Mason is great because,
how's he going to get consistency if he doesn't play?
Say that again?
How's he going to get consistency if he doesn't play?
Okay, so you mean to tell me you're going to all of a sudden put Mason Rudolph to take place of a Hall of Famer that's still ready?
I didn't say that.
And Mason's not
but your case is he needs to be more consistent. You can't get consistent at anything other than sitting on your ass if you're sitting on your ass.
You got to watch, you got to groom, and you got to observe.
But that's not going to get you.
Right now.
That's not going to make you a consistent quarterback watching.
Well, we don't need to use him now, so he can sit down and go ahead and hit the clipboard until it's time. He could be the next Big Ben shit. He could be in the same realm of what Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers was. You never know. The boy can sling. Because Oklahoma, like I said, when he put up 500 yards against Pitt, and Pitt had the second best defense in the ACC behind Miami at the time, or Florida State at the time that particular year, and he put up 500 against us, that wasn't no slouch. That means the kid was good and the receivers was ready. So,
Justin,
I'm liking that.
The question is simple. If Big Ben tears an ACL in week 1, is Mason Rudolph ready to take the reins?
We ain't got no choice. You're going to have to put him in, period.
Is he ready?
You're going to have to put him in, and he better be ready. That's it.
So
there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We can't sit there just like the situation with Andrew Luck and Jacoby right now. Is Jacoby now officially ready? Hey, he ain't got no choice. You better throw it in and find out now. The only way you go ahead is get, like you said, is he ready to play? We're about to find out. If Ben gets hurt, we'll find out sooner rather than later, period.
So to be determined.
To be determined. This ain't a quarterback controversy right now. Ben gets hurt, Mason's in.
It won't be a quarterback
controversy.
It's pretty much done now. They got, 3-4 more years before it's any real controversy. They're not moving on from Ben.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not like New York with Manning and Jones. It's pretty much said. It's, as long as Ben's there and Ben doesn't struggle too hardly, it's just we'll see. But that's good enough time.
He's a real Hall of Famer. Not the Eli Manning Hall of Famer.
No, yeah, he's a real Hall of Famer.
Eli's going to make it because of his last name, not because of what he's actually done.
Nah, Eli's a Hall of Famer because of his pedigree name, and he had hell of a 2 Super Bowls.
That 2 games don't make you a Hall of Famer. All right, anyway, moving on to Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs lost Chad Henne for the season because he had an ankle injury. 2 of them. He had a sprain and a fracture or something. He's done. He's on the IR.
I'm surprised Chad Henne's still in the league. When you said his name, I was like, Chad Henne from Michigan? Damn.
He actually knows the offense.
He's like a year younger than us.
He knows the offense, and he runs it really well with that talent in Kansas City. So he would have held up for 3 or 4 games if Patrick went down. But their number 2 option and maybe he was number 1. They're trying to sell it as he was number 1. When we went for this backup quarterback was Matt Moore, who didn't play football last year.
Right. Matt Moore was the coordinator in high school last year. I looked it up. So, I don't know. I mean, obviously we know Cap ain't getting the job, but, yeah, okay.
So the guy was bagging groceries or teaching high school or coaching the high school team. That's a great thing, working with the kids. But now he's got a job as a backup quarterback in Kansas City. And could very well win a Super Bowl. What?
Matt Moore in Super Bowl, okay.
He could very well win a Super Bowl. If the Chiefs win, he's the backup. He gets a ring.
No, so
he gets a ring.
Answer this, just the way you threw it to me. So if Patrick Mahomes gets hurt,
no. I said he could actually win a Super Bowl if everything goes right in Kansas City. He could actually win a Super Bowl. That's what I'm saying. I never said he
benefits off the team.
Yeah, I never said that means he's touching the field at all. He's not getting If that happens, then God bless Kansas City. I might just be a Texan fan.
I was really like, you're gonna say Matt Moore's gonna win you a Super Bowl?
No. Matt Moore isn't gonna beat the Bengals. So my question is, why not Cap?
We all know that, man.
I don't know.
Cap was never going to be picked up ever again, especially the fact since he took the money from the NFL back in, I think it was March. Cap will never, ever see NFL again. It's sad to say, because he's a hell of a quarterback, and he was a hell of a player when he was with San Francisco. But we pretty much know, America knows, Cap ain't never going to get back in the NFL. Look what they did just recently. You got Matt Moore, who was bagging groceries. You had Josh McCown, who was retired, that came back out from the booth. And they still calling Jay Cutler, who just retired.
If they sign Jay Cutler, I'm out. Okay? I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you.
I'm done.
Just telling people it real.
If they sign that dude, I'm done.
Also, keep in mind, there's a certain quarterback y'all played against last year that's been getting trials by the name of Brock Osweiler.
Who? I'm also done.
Yes. He's getting trial looks.
He can get a trial.
That's what I'm saying.
He can go to trial in New Mexico somewhere, but he definitely shouldn't show up in Kansas City anytime soon. Never.
Okay. Here's the thing.
No,
money on this.
I know.
It's 8:18 p.m. and it's August 28th. Not saying Kansas City, but if a quarterback goes down, Brock Osweiler's getting a call.
I'm going to vomit.
It'll be second or third string, he's going to get a call.
I'm going to vomit.
Quarterback or whatever how tall he is getting a phone call. Trust me.
It's absolutely sickening thinking of him ever throwing the football again.
Remember, the Texans thought he was the next one.
And the Texans are exactly led by Bill O. Brainiac.
Yeah, which was overrated. But, again, I'm just saying, Brock Osweiler is out there. Paxton Lynch is actually on the squad.
He's in Seattle.
He's actually on the squad, which is surprising.
And Cap is unemployed.
Yeah.
The funniest shit
Seattle, which is
ever. Paxton Lynch has a job in the NFL, and Cap is unemployed. Hell, at the very least, you'd get the media's attention, sell maybe a couple more jerseys. The heck? Paxton Lynch?
Well, again, more importantly, Paxton Lynch, those two guys coming from coaching and the booth to come down, and there's possibly still another Jay Cutler signing. Come on, man. Because right now, if the Texans lose, let's just use, for example, if the Texans lose Watson, Lord forbid, we don't want that to happen, knock on wood. But I could see them calling one of those guys like a Brock Osweiler or something.
They would never call Brock Osweiler back.
Shit.
They would never call Brock Osweiler back. Now,
this is Bill O'Brien. It would stop.
He would never call Brock Osweiler back. The fans would never allow it. They'd sooner take Cap in Houston. Never mind.
He's been down here. Well, the funny thing is he's been down here several times, too. Like, the last highlight reel that they showed, where Cap showed on his Instagram, he was in Houston. He's at Katy. He was up actually near where you live. He was in Katy. And I was like, what's Cap doing up here in Houston? I'm thinking, like, okay, the Texans may be smart in getting Cap as a backup because that's the closest skill set.
They'd sooner take him than Brock Osweiler.
Nah,
kneeling or no kneeling. Kneeling or no kneeling. Anyway, back to Kansas City. I think it's awful that Matt Moore is back in the NFL. I mean, listen, he wasn't terrible.
Okay, sure.
He wasn't. No.
How many playoff games did Matt Moore win?
I didn't say he's going to win a playoff game.
How many playoff games did he get to?
Listen, he's got a winning record. He's got a winning record.
So he does? Oh,
yeah, he's got a winning record, and he's a lot.
How many teams did he play for?
Look, he used to play for the Dolphins. Also, I don't know what Andy Reid's obsession is about bad Dolphins quarterbacks.
He said the Dolphins. That's cute.
The Dolphins' bad quarterbacks.
Let's just start talking. The Dolphins just need to change their name. Maybe they'll be more threatening if they ever become the Sharks. I think that movie any given Sunday was giving them a hand.
Listen, don't attack the Dolphins, man. Leave the Dolphins alone. Save the Dolphins. Anyway,
I need a quarterback that'll get picked before Cap. Sam Bradford.
Also, Kansas City. There's a lot of people saying the Chiefs can go to the Super Bowl, but all these predictions are predicated on one simple thing. Will the defense improve?
And can your offensive line protect Patrick Mahomes?
I think we're fine. I think we're fine on offense. I think Patrick, Andy, Eric Bieniemy is well equipped to adjust to any situation that the line presents. I think the talent on offense is just so far superior to anything a defense can throw out there one-on-one against all those guys. So offensively, you just hope you can score enough points. On defense, there's just so many question marks. Cornerback, Kendall Fuller has had a very, very quiet camp. Very, very quiet preseason. I just don't know how that's going to work out.
Fuller was the number one pick, so he should shine. Because, I mean, he didn't shine where was he, in the Bears? You remember, he's a former number one pick that should be shining.
We got Fuller. It wasn't from the Bears. That's his brother.
Oh, okay. I know there's a bunch of Fullers out there. All four brothers are in the league.
Where did he come from?
That's a talented-ass family.
Yeah. He may have came from Green Bay. I don't know. I can't remember.
I'll look it up. Nah, I know he wasn't Green Bay. But regardless of the matter, I mean, I thought he would be a solid one, too.
It was a trade. Wait. This is easy. Washington. He was with the Skins. This is easy one.
Right.
It was Alex Smith trade. Right. I don't know what I'm doing. So
on the third round pick. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It was the Skins. He was a solid slot in Washington. He's been okay in Kansas City.
He's only 24.
He's been okay in Kansas City. He's not a number one cornerback. And I think that's what the Chiefs really need him to play. And that ain't who he is. So I just don't know. I don't know. How do you make someone?
Y'all don't have to be the new Rams.
How do you make someone that's not a number one cornerback your number one cornerback and expect to win a Super Bowl?
That's a great question. But then again, look at Josh Norman. Josh Norman was never expected to be a number one quarterback, and he campaigned out, and they went to the Super Bowl. They just happened to run into Denver.
But he was talented enough to handle it. I don't think Fuller has that kind of talent. No. I don't think he's that good. He's adequate. He's above average, but he's not going to stop or slow down Odell Beckham Jr.
No, but not many corners is. But there's one good point. You know, he's had 2 forced fumbles, 24 pass deflections. He's never had an interception. At this point in your career, if you've been in the league for now, how many years? He's been in the league for 3 years.
At least 3.
But he has no interception.
That's a long time for a cornerback. Especially one that started off in the slot where the ball is thrown around a lot in the middle.
I agree. But we got to see about, like I told you, if he could become the Dre Bly, like I said, I think y'all like the Rams of yesteryear. I mean,
but that won't win a Super Bowl.
Huh?
That'll get you there, but it's not going to win it.
Depends who you play.
I mean, unless we play the Saints, and then it's going to be like 90 to 83.
I'm okay with that.
And so is the NFL.
I mean, I'm okay with that. After seeing y'all play the Rams last year, that was one of the most exciting games in the world. In fact, I was wondering what that Rams team went instead of the Super Bowl team. Well, that Super Bowl team was trash, but that Rams team that was putting up numbers like that, I'm okay with that.
That was fun.
And that's with Mahomes getting pressure all the time by Aaron Donald.
Yeah, and that was fun.
He had 3 sacks that game.
And that kid, and he still balled.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm okay with that. I would rather see that. And I think the NFL actually owes y'all that. It owes the Saints that.
I think the NFL would love that. They would love a 90 to 89 game.
Yeah.
They would love it. They would absolutely salivate.
A lot of conspiracy theorists think once y'all lost to New England, that the NFL would rather have the Rams than would have rather had the Rams than the Saints. So a lot of people think it was a conspiracy of that mysterious no call. Which is the absolute worst call in NFL history. There has not been anything worse than that.
It's still in court.
In recent memory.
It's still in court. Cases.
And what are they going to do now?
The case is proceeding.
Do shit about it. What are they going to do?
No, all they're trying to do is to get Roger Goodell on the record. They're going to make him testify.
Never going to happen.
Well, the judge let it go. So we'll see.
As long as somebody's going to get paid off, and it's not going to happen. Trust me. The NFL owners they're going to make sure that they're going to keep Roger Goodell clean. They know they messed up.
We
made a huge mistake. It's like Republicans voted in Trump in the White House. They know they made a mistake too, but they're going to let it ride.
We will see. So Chris Jones still doesn't have a contract.
Dude.
Help me understand. I don't get it. We're probably like $28 million under the cap because they had to sign Matt freaking Moore to back up Patrick Mahomes.
Again, y'all not gonna get it until they can figure out the situation with Mahomes.
Well, I kind of like their strategy though, because with this current CBA they can carry money over and this account towards next year's cap. So I kind of like their strategy. Let's just hold off and carry this money over so we can get these deals done next year with this extra cap space. I kind of like it if that's what they're doing. But if Chris Jones becomes a free agent, if Chris Jones is not a Kansas City Chief, Brett Veach needs to be fired.
I mean, here's the thing. It's all your money is about to go to 2 players.
I don't want to hear anything other than Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones. Speed does not age well, so Tyreek Hill will not be a Chief for longer than 3 more years. Unless they're stupid.
You have to keep giving them weapons.
That's great, and that's what you call
keep them as a weapon.
But that's what you call a draft. That's why you have drafts. So you pay the person that will be the franchise on your defense. He has been that in the very short time he's been there. He's the guy everyone on the defense knows, the whole community. So this makes no sense to me unless that's what they're trying to do, carry this money over and have extra for next year to be able to do their deals. But I'm going to have a rant every week until Chris Jones is paid.
Here's my question for you with that one. Was Chris Jones the current GM's guy, or was that Dorsey?
This is his third year. It is Veach's guy, I believe, because we got Patrick Mahomes. No. He came the year before Patrick Mahomes.
Right, because I'm about to say, this is Patrick's third year here. So that's a Dorsey guy.
That's a Dorsey guy.
Correct.
If he goes
to
Cleveland,
most egotistical,
if he goes to Cleveland,
GMs.
Dude, if he goes to Cleveland, I feel bad for you.
Oh, if he goes to Cleveland, well, Cleveland won't have enough money for a cap room for him. Cleveland's out. But I can see them trying to. Cleveland would have to get rid of either...
Or Baltimore.
Sometimes, too.
Or Baltimore.
They strap, too.
I'm saying if he goes either... I feel bad for you. That guy is a beast. He needs to stay in Kansas City.
No, I agree with you.
Jesus.
I see him going somewhere that's a little bit more silver. Mainly Dallas Cowboys. I see that.
I can see that.
They have nobody on defense. Your best defensive player is overrated to me in DeMarcus Lawrence. Your next two defensive players...
But he's not leaving Kansas City.
Okay.
Stop making these rationales for these other teams. Chris Jones is a Kansas City Chief.
You brought it up.
Chris Jones is a Kansas City Chief. So, Derwin James is injured. He's had surgery. Melvin Gordon is currently not playing football.
He's in Miami running on an elliptical with a helmet.
Does this make the division easier for the Chiefs? I kind of think it does.
The Derwin James situation, yeah, kind of. Melvin Gordon, not really.
I don't understand how you guys are undervaluing Melvin Gordon. Eckler is good, but he's no Melvin Gordon. And I'm telling you like this, if you keep riding with Phillip the Gunslinger Rivers, you will fall. Just like getting on a motorcycle, you ride, you will fall. You keep riding on Rivers, you will fall. History has proven it.
That's true, but here's the thing. How many games does Melvin Gordon missed? He's not the most durable running back.
He's missed a lot of games.
Huh?
He's missed a lot of games.
He hasn't played a 16-game season yet. And I think that's the only reason why the Chargers are not paying him that yet.
Well,
it's like with Zeke, you knew. Zeke played games if he could stay off suspension.
Why is he still not paid?
That's because you're matching ego for ego. So you're matching Jerry Jones' ego versus Ezekiel Elliott's manager's ego. And one of them has to buzz, and Jerry's like, I'm getting tired of it. Plus the fact of the matter is you do realize every time since Emmitt Smith, which is damn near 30 years ago, held out, Jerry Jones has been a stickler for running backs and paying them. He would rather get rid of them before pay them. He did it with Julius Jones. He did it with the Barber guy. He did it with DeMarco Murray.
How many games?
Even though whatchamacallit is better than all of them, damn near combined, I see Jerry doing the same thing. In theory, his ego will not let him play, and definitely not let him. Jerry loves a quarterback. That's why he overpaid for Aikman. That's why he's definitely overpaid Tony Romo. He's going to do the same thing with Dak. Dak is probably not going to get 40, but he'll get 32.
That's insane.
I agree.
How many games?
Which means if he gets 32, Patrick's going to get 50. 35. I'm sorry.
How many games do they win without Ezekiel Elliott? I got 2.
Maybe 4.
I got 2.
Well, they'll beat both Giants games, regardless.
I don't know how.
The Giants are trash.
And Dak Prescott ain't too much better. If they give, man.
They'll win both Giants games, and they'll probably sneak around and mess with one of the Redskins games.
Yeah, okay.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So you don't think that the Chiefs division is easier with the Derwin James and Melvin Gordon? You don't think the Gordon thing is an impact at all?
Because y'all still are dealing with that defensive line, Bosa and what's the other kid's name? I forgot.
You forgot.
Y'all still got to deal with that defense.
And they got to deal with the defensive line of Chris Jones and Frank Clark.
That's a huge loss. But y'all still got a lot on that line.
They got to deal with Frank Clark and Chris Jones.
Yeah, they could, but still. Yeah. That's a lot of pressure.
It's going to be fun to watch.
The only thing I ain't got to worry about is the Raiders. The Raiders, as much as they buy, transfer, pick, draft it, I still don't see them anything.
The most interesting thing about the Oakland Raiders is Antonio Brown's helmet.
Yeah, that's
anyway, moving on to the Texans. Lamar Miller torn ACL.
It's sad. Don't get me wrong, but here's the thing. The Texans needed a running back anyway. They should have never got rid of Foreman.
You've been saying it all off-season.
They should have known. They should have not get rid of Foreman. Come on, man. The kid can ball. He actually was the only bright shining spot on UT's team when Charlie Strong was there. Although, and that was only Charlie Strong's, realistically speaking, that was his only real recruit, because he had to either deal with Mac Brown's recruits, which were half-assed, or he was dealing with, other shit. But I think Foreman can shine. You didn't get a chance to. And then you got Duke Johnson. Duke Johnson's going to be great, but Duke Johnson wasn't even a ground and pound at Miami. He wasn't. They ran a two-back offense at the U. So what the hell you think they're going to do now with a one-back offense, with one back only? And then Bill O'Brien came out saying, well, we have a good enough players that we could do something. I ain't seen a name I've ever heard of before. I'm like, yo, you got the new cast of Hard Knocks for next year. Because I ain't never heard of none of those names. Buddy Brown, Buddy Howell, what else? Come on, bro.
I heard those names.
If you had Arian Foster, okay, maybe. But keep in mind, people fail to realize Arian Foster fell in the draft is because of Lane Kiffin. Arian Foster was actually destined to be probably a top first, second, or third round pick and failed to be an undrafted. But again, I don't know what Bill O'Brien must be drinking a lot of sweet tea from Buc-ee's because he's fucking losing it.
Well, it's the power, man. It's the power. He got a power trip right now. He's in charge. He's running the show.
I'll give you that. But see, here's the thing. I also realized that him and McNair, the son, of course, they're good friends. They both have, kids that are special needs kids and this, that, and the third. That's why I don't think Bill O'Brien's going to lose his job. Rick lost his job because
let him stop selling tickets.
The Texans or season ticket holders are sold out until 2025.
I understand that, but let them stop selling tickets. And 2025, listen, things change in the NFL very quickly. This guy, I don't think he's bulletproof because of what's going on with their personal life. I hope that's not the case for the fan base of Houston. After the Chiefs win a few, I wouldn't mind seeing one in Houston after the Chiefs win a few. So, yeah.
Right now, the Texans were smart, I would go after Jay Ajayi. Because he's still a free agent out there, and obviously not going back to Philly with Jordan Howard there.
Yeah, and they definitely aren't bringing Jadeveon Clowney back, I suppose. But you said he changed agents?
He changed his agents because he was willing to go here. The agent actually broke down and said they were willing to talk negotiations at the table. Jadeveon wants out. And now he's choosing his teams. He rather either go to Philadelphia
Who does this kid think he is?
I don't know. A guy that's never had a 10-sack season.
And he's choosing his teams.
Right. So Miami.
How many 16-game seasons has he had?
I think last year was the first.
The first. So now we gotta pay you. Now we got to come off of this boatload of money for this guy who has never had double-digit sacks and has only played one healthy season. And that wasn't exactly brilliant.
And the thing is, if the Texans were smart, they know they have to put all their money. They got to put all their money in Deshaun.
Yeah.
Period. And eventually get another wide receiver before y'all kill D-Hop.
Can I ask a question? And I don't know how to ask. Are we really that excited about Deshaun Watson?
Yes.
Okay.
Reason is what he did.
Okay.
Because one, what he did at Clemson. Two, what his potential is to be. And three, if you give him a line, because I'm going to say this, if you give him a line, he's better than Dak Prescott.
Well,
better than probably a good, well, I'm just saying, he's better than probably a good half of the NFL.
Okay.
And, I mean, let's be honest. He's a brother. I'm always going to root for the quarterback.
I'm with you.
I got to root for him.
I'm with you. But, you know what I kind of see? And, oh, God. I kind of see Rodney Peete.
Rodney Peete?
Bro, listen.
Rodney Peete. First of all, Rodney Peete was bigger. Second of all, Rodney Peete was not mobile. He was kind of mobile at USC. He got to the pros. He was not mobile. Yeah, I mean, he collected more checks than a lot of NFL players. I don't see Rodney Peete at all. Now, I can compare him to Randall Cunningham.
No. Maybe.
But,
yeah. No, he don't run enough.
Randall Cunningham to me is Cam.
Yeah, I can see that. What about Culpepper? No. What, McNair? He's McNair.
I'll give you McNair.
He's McNair.
That's what he is.
He's
So
McNair.
you get excited for that. But even Steve McNair had Eddie George. That's what I'm saying. Steve McNair got a lot of pressure off of him because he had a hell of a running back who should be in the Hall of Fame right now. I'm just saying. Eddie George.
I agree. I'm an Eddie George fan. Reluctantly. So Clowney is going to
9 out of 10 they said Miami. Because it's supposed to be a trade. It's a pick and Laramie Tunsil, a.k.a. Weedhead, for Clowney.
So what is the impact to the Dolphins?
Who cares? It's the Dolphins. It's just
I'm just asking. Are they getting better with that trade?
No, because if y'all couldn't, here's the thing. If they couldn't use Ndamukong Suh right, and that's Ndamukong Suh coming off of two, three crazy seasons in Detroit, where he was probably one of the most dominant football players, definitely defense-wise. To get Clowney, you know what's going to happen? Miami is that place outside of if you were drafted there, where players go and they die out. For example, Ndamukong Suh.
So why do the trade if it's not making the Dolphins better?
It's the Dolphins.
I'm confused about what they are anymore. I miss Dan Marino.
I miss Dan Marino too. Shout out Pit Love.
And I hated Dan Marino because he always beat the Chiefs. But the Dolphins have not been relevant since Dan Marino. That is a long time.
I told you they need to change their name to the Sharks or the Stingrays.
Dude, that's a long time. A long time.
Yeah, Dan Marino retired in 99.
I was in high school.
98. Correct.
I was in high school.
98, actually.
All right. Deshaun Watson now no longer has a running game. How does that impact him?
It's going to impact him a lot. So you have no offensive line and no running game. He's going to be scrambling for his life till it's going to be a lot of scrambling. It's going to be a lot of hard days for Deshaun. That's why I said when they didn't get a lineman in the draft or pick up a lineman from free agency, my 9-7 theory with the Texans dropped down to 7-9, maybe 8.
So who wins this division?
I'm going 6-10.
So who wins the division? Because Andrew Luck just retired.
That's the only reason why the Texans will win the division by default.
With 6 wins?
Well, no, I take it back. They'll have more than 6 wins because the Titans won't have that many. The Titans will be 6-10. The Texans will go maybe 9-7.
So
you can win a division 8 with an 8-8 record.
What?
We learned that from the Steelers.
So what about Nick Foles in Jacksonville then? Is that a real upgrade? I mean, it can't get worse.
He's the Mariano Rivera of football. But even Mariano Rivera as a starting pitcher for the Yankees, he sucked. But as a reliever, he was the GOAT.
He couldn't be worse.
Same thing I feel with Foles.
He couldn't be worse than Jacksonville's last quarterback, though. You got to be like,
yes, he can.
Nah.
Remember, realize.
Nah.
Foles, if he was so cold.
Hey! I know he's not gonna come out there and turn into Russell Wilson or give me a good.
Why didn't Nick Foles sign when he was with the Rams? After he left Philly the first time, he lost the position. Why didn't Nick Foles keep the job when he remember, he came in after Donovan and then lost the job to Vic. He lost the job to Michael Vick, who just recently got out of jail. They never looked back. And then went to the Rams and stunk it up with the Rams, and then he was on another team, stunk it up, and then went back to Philly. And then
he came to Kansas City, and he didn't stink it up in Kansas City. He was a solid backup for Alex Smith. He was a solid backup for Alex Smith. He won a couple games for Kansas City.
Backup.
He won a couple games. He won a couple spot starts.
As a backup.
Hey.
As a starter.
Did what he needed to do. Did what he needed to do. He but you say he's a good closer.
At any given point, did he scare Alex Smith for his job?
Oh, no. Well, if you ask some people. If he did,
y'all wouldn't have Patrick Mahomes right now.
No, but if you ask some people, there was a couple of games that they wish Foles had played over Alex. So we're saying that Deshaun Watson is going to be running for his life, but that he's going to manage to pull off 9 games.
They can win both games against the Colts, so that's 2. They can win both games against.
So you really have no faith in Jacoby Brissett? None.
No. Okay. Here's the thing: the Colts defense, they got Justin Houston. Woohoo! The defense ain't that great.
He better hold his knee holds up on that turf.
The defense ain't that great, and who's your running back? Last year they had like 5 different running backs.
Well, all their running backs are hurt. All their running backs are hurt.
Except for Foreman. That's why they brought in Dante Foreman from the Texans. So now you have another running back. Great. So Andrew Luck was your pinnacle. Because other than that, Andrew Luck, that's why he won Comeback Player of the Year. He balled.
He had a great year.
He balled for him, but he was the savior for the team.
He had a great year.
Back.
So, yeah.
He's the savior of the team. The Texans are in trouble. And if anybody doesn't think otherwise, they tripping. The Texans are in trouble.
The Texans are in trouble, but the division is very weak.
Right, but unless you're going to let J.J. Watt run the ball, y'all in trouble.
Bro, we know J.J. Watt's only playing 8 games at most. Let's do an over-under on how many games he plays.
I'm actually going to go and say 14.
You're saying 14? I say 6.
Nah, son.
I say 6. I say 6. You say 14.
He needs to retire.
Well, I
he
thought
needs to
that.
play Andrew Luck and let it go.
Yeah.
If he only plays 6.
But I say 6. All right, really quickly, want to touch on the NBA. Dwight Howard's deal is not guaranteed. He's getting paid like $14,000 some change. Per day he's on the roster starting October 21st. How far has he fallen?
A lot, because here's the thing with the Lakers. With Dwight Howard. It's not his his ability, it's his injuries, and he's a locker room cancer. And that's why teams don't want to deal with him, because every team he's gone to, he destroyed Orlando. He went to the Lakers. He beefed with Kobe and Steve Nash when that was supposed to be the next big three. He comes to Houston. Now, Houston was different because he came here to be the man, but then you don't listen to two of the greatest centers of all time, and Moses before he died, and Hakeem. You blow them off, which is pretty much blowing off the team. Becomes a cancer there. Then you go home to Atlanta. Atlanta don't want to deal with you because you want more money. Then you get traded to Charlotte, and then when Charlotte gets rid of you, that's when you're at your lowest. Because right now, Michael Jordan needs as many stars as he can get. Hell, he let Kimber walk.
But he hadn't been a star since the first year in Houston.
True, but see, you got to realize his first year in Houston was all him and Jeremy Lin. But when Harden came along and showed whose squad it was, then that's the problem.
Well, and then since then, he's not been anything.
True, but it became Shaq and Kobe-like, but the difference is Dwight Howard's no Shaq. I mean, so it just ends up being a severe issue with that. And right now with Dwight Howard, he needs to retire.
Well,
He does.
I am very intrigued by that locker room. With him in it now.
I'm not. It's LeBron's locker room. With a non-guaranteed contract, you know what this means?
But this is an ego
LeBron is going
trip.
to sit there and say, hey, get rid of this guy.
Yeah, I get it.
The only reason why, and the other two guys they didn't pick is because Kenneth Faried is still too short. He's not a solid center. You know, so that's why he's out. Because they're not going to put Anthony Davis at center. He's going to play power forward. So Kenneth Faried at center, that doesn't work when you're power forward taller than him. And Joakim Noah, LeBron is never going to forget that Joakim Noah called him a bitch, and that's it.
But Joakim Noah is awful.
Say it again?
He's awful.
Joakim Noah? Yeah, he's overrated.
Awful.
I hated him at Florida. Honestly, he was a clown
bad
at Florida.
basketball
I hated him.
All right, so Dwight needs to shut his mouth and hope he stays on the roster as many days as possible to collect his 14 and change.
If Dwight gets a ring because of this, I would be very, very upset. I don't think
if the Lakers get a ring, I think the world would be upset.
Well, that's LeBron, basically. That would show LeBron controls the NBA.
If that happens, I guess we can revisit the GOAT talk. I guess.
We should never revisit this now. Right now, here's the thing. LeBron, to me, is fighting for second or third place as far as the GOAT title.
I agree, but if he wins right now with this team, I always thought that he was a bitch because he didn't want to play in the West. And now he's finally doing it. And the West is better than it's ever been. So if he wins now, you kind of just got to shut up and let the millennials have their words. But I still think Mike's the best. But still. I still know Mike's the best, but you got to let the millennials have their conversation then.
They can have a conversation, they can sip their tea, they can drink their drink. There's no way in hell I'm going to go ahead. And I'm not the biggest Jordan fan of all because my best friend is a huge Jordan fan, so I'm always anti that. But I got to give credit to credit due.
He's the GOAT.
Top 5, he's not the GOAT.
Okay. I mean, I agree with you, but the West is loaded now, and my biggest argument against it. Between Magic and Kobe for number 3. I'm just saying, my two biggest arguments was one that he stayed his punk ass in the East and went to the conference finals and the NBA finals all those years because he didn't want to play with the big boys. Now he's doing that. And my other obstacle in supporting him is he's a bitch and he only plays about 50 to 65 games a year because he needs rest. Michael Jordan didn't take rest. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, I'm done with my LeBron, LeBum. Anyway, WWE. I want to go I'm gonna skip around real quick because I want to touch this, and we got about 9 minutes left, so then I want to kind of focus on it. Randy Orton versus Kofi Kingston. Is this turning into a racial thing? Is this stupid thing?
It seems like it.
Yeah,
even given it, look at the title situation now. So the New Day has the tag team title. Kofi has the belt, the championship belt. But now they fight Randy Orton in the Revival, which seemed like it was kind of forced to me.
Yeah, but they look good together, though.
Good. The Revival should have never lost the title, but now it's like, oh yeah, everybody has to go here. So my biggest thing is now, what happens is, are they going to have a triple threat match or something? Now I don't want Clash of Champions. They got to be a bigger stage, which it would be next big one will probably be like Survivor Series or something. The next real big. If that occurs, does the WWE make all three of them lose their belt at the same time?
I don't know. I'm just concerned about the tone of this rivalry because I think stupid is a catalyst for something else.
I agree.
I don't like how this has gone. I've always kind of felt Kofi lacks just a little passion to be able to defend himself against something like this.
The one thing is they make Kofi is almost like, I hate to say it, he's like the black Daniel Bryan. He's the little guy who everybody is like the engine up. Before they made Daniel Bryan the environmentalist bad guy,
he's a great heel.
The wooden WWE belt, come on, bro.
Now that was going entirely too far, but he's a great heel.
But again, I'm just like, okay, well, we'll ride with that one with Kofi. Kofi is just due, but I think, like you said, enough people were getting under the WWE's between social. Like, listen, I'm gonna put it to you like this: if this was maybe about 10 years ago, the WWE still would have never made Kofi champion at his current age. They would have never did it. The reason is because the power of social media, the power of now considered almost a fan vote. They want to see this guy, and there's enough people who could honestly say this is why Sasha Banks is back. She could have went to the AWE or the AEW, but because enough people are like, y'all screwing Sasha over.
Yeah.
Now she's a heel, and she'll get the belt.
Oh yeah.
Back to Kofi in the New Day.
I want to be excited about Sasha. But something is missing on her in-ring.
Well, she got a new move because basically her move and Becky Lynch's move was the same exact move. The bank statement and the disarmor was almost the same fucking thing. But I agree. But I've never liked Sasha as to be honest with you, as a good guy. I like her as a heel. She plays it a little bit better now.
Yeah, it is more compelling. I give you that.
Well, yeah, the whole bestie friends, like honestly.
Oh, that was cheesy. But I think anything to deal with Bailey is cheesy. I've never seen such Magoo ever.
Well, let's be realistic. Bailey's the female John Cena. And the reason I say that is there's no way they could ever turn her to a heel.
But Cena had edge.
Right. You're right.
Bailey has none.
I agree. But again, do you ever think at this point now they can ever turn Bailey into a heel?
I just don't know how you could because she's too Mrs. Rogers.
Right. Exactly my point. Forever and a day, Bailey is going to be the balloons and with the absolute worst finishing move in WWE. I'm sorry. She has the worst one. Because that's a regular move to anybody else. That's her finisher.
Gosh, that's awful. But I'm glad they got her flying off the rope with the elbow piece. Like I said, we talked about that a little bit. The elbow is better. I like the Macho Man elbow. At least you get some high impact. Maybe it knocks the breath from you for a couple seconds, so you can cover for somebody for 3. It's bad, but that's what I'm saying. So listen. So the girl that's with Oscar does it better. So how do I say this? I love the women's evolution, but I don't like the faces of the women's evolution because I think some of them lack the talent to say they're part of that evolution. I don't think Bayley's all that talented. I keep saying I'm lacking, that Sasha's missing something. I don't know if it's just that she doesn't have enough power or something, but yeah, there's Charlotte, Natalya.
The sharpshooter is getting old. The whole premise of her being a heart, I get it, but it's kind of old.
I get it, but I'm talking about actual competitors in there.
Here's the thing. The best competitors on the WWE, it's sad to say, I'm going back to it. The 3 best competitors that are most talented get burned every fucking time. That is Naomi. That is Ember Moon.
Yeah.
And when she gets back, Nia Jax.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say Nia is because Nia is the only one that has size to be the Braun Strowman, the Big Show.
I don't think the WWE really appreciates that for women. I don't think they do that. I don't think they get it. We got about 2.5 minutes left. Let's talk about NXT on Wednesdays against head-to-head AEW. Good move for WWE.
It's the only move they can do.
I mean, that's not the only move they can do, but do you think it was necessary to go down to compete head-to-head with AEW? Do you think that they're putting...
They want to keep the cable wars.
Yeah.
So the only cable war you can do is move NXT.
But what happens if you lose?
If they lose, they'll just sit there and say, that's because our main talent is on SmackDown and Raw, which are on, which of course Raw's on Monday and SmackDown's on Fox. So that's what's going to happen. They're going to say the main purpose is going to be those 2.
I think that's why they took the safe bet on USA too. Because if they did it on FS1 and lost, it would be humiliating.
Oh, beyond humiliating. I agree with that one. But realistically, they should have had the ESPN. Because ESPN was in the mix to do a deal with them.
They couldn't have did a move like that. Listen, if you go to a new network to compete with these people and lose, it is going to be devastating for their stock. So they have to do the safe bet is USA.
I still don't understand why they're leaving USA. I mean, outside of the money. But
well, USA didn't want SmackDown Live.
Right.
I don't get it. But USA didn't want SmackDown Live on Tuesday or Friday. They didn't want it, and Fox did. I kind of like it. I can't wait to see if there's a change because Fox is seeming to be demanding a lot. So we'll see.
Another thing with Fox is they already got the combat sport. So if they cover, they already got boxing, they already got somewhat of UFC, and then now this. They get all the UFC leftovers from ESPN. So if they can cover that, then I think they feel they're set.
Yeah, so that's to be determined. So anyway, we're about to wrap up. Next week we're gonna do are we doing predictions next week or the week after?
Yeah.
We're doing it after preseason 4. We gotta figure out something to talk about on week 4. The roster cuts.
Yeah, roster cuts will be key. But we do predictions also because the fact of the matter is preseason's over after Sunday.
Well, preseason's over now for mostly everybody.
One thing we do need to talk about, we can talk about next week, is the NFL talking about expanding shortening the preseason, expanding the regular season. I think it's going to be a CBA nightmare.
Yeah, it's not happening. Anyway, we'll talk about some predictions next week. We'll also talk about whatever's happening during the week. Also, there's going to be a Was it Clash of Champions preview?
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll have that next week too. Anyway, until next week, I'm KC Reginald Jr.
Justin Waters.
And thanks for listening to Underdog Sports. Have a great evening.